It's Monday, May 18th. Do you know where your Philadelphia Eagles are? I'm Eagles insider Dave Spadaro, broadcasting from my NovaCare Complex virtual studio. And I've got the head coach of the football team with me, Doug Pederson, who is at his home in South Jersey. Doug, good morning to you. And how you doing, and how's everything going in this virtual world?
Good morning, Dave. Appreciate you having me on this morning. Things are going probably better than I had hoped for when this thing started. A few weeks ago, and I've been really pleased with the progress we've made. We're going to start our fourth week today, this Monday today, and like I said, I've been really excited for what we've done, and I think the direction that we're headed.
If you could provide some details on just how it works, take us behind the scenes. So, when you start a morning, what happens? You stand up and address everyone as you would at the NovaCare complex?
That's exactly right. So every Monday and every Thursday, I address the football team. The other thing I do is I also address the staff, my staff, on a separate call. So I have a staff meeting the same 2 days, and really it just sort of kicks off the week. Some of the things that we've done in the past, if we're at NovaCare, we show a highlight video of the guys working out during the week, and it's something that I'm actually going to show again today, of them working out last week. I think it's important that they see how hard that their teammates are working, and so I get a chance to address the team, show that video, kind of set the tone for the week. Same way with the staff, and then we're off and running, and they go right into virtual workouts with Ted Rath and his staff, and then after that they go into meetings with their position coaches. So it's been going really smooth. Got to give a lot of credit to our video department, our IT department, for keeping us virtually connected, and it's been going pretty smooth.
Doug, is your message to the team completely different than it would be if everybody were gathered at the NovaCare complex?
Dave, it's something, once the season got over this past year, 2019, I hit the reset button and I think about what my new messaging points are going to be, moving forward for the new season, upcoming season 2020, and quite honestly, it kind of fits in line with where we are during this pandemic, and sort of self quarantined at home and working from home, virtual workouts, virtual meetings, things of this nature. And the two messaging points are the one is the word trust. And I think the word trust really fits where we are right now. Our guys and our coaches, our trainers, our strength conditioning staff, we need to trust each other through this process. And the second one is stronger together. I think through this process, we are going to become stronger together. We're going to be more united, I think, coming out of this pandemic, whenever it is, and when we get back together, guys are going to be extremely motivated, extremely excited. So for me, it was putting those two kind of phrases together, the word trust and then stronger together, have been my messaging points to the team this spring.
I got to tell you, I think you're the originator of slogans. The new normal 2 years ago certainly applies to what everybody's going through today. And then obviously the idea of trusting is so important for everybody out there. Very good stuff. Doug, you mentioned that the players, you're playing a video of players working out. So how does that work? You have video of literally of guys working out. Do the strength and conditioning coaches watch the players do the workouts? How's that work?
Yeah, so the players and our strength conditioning staff, they are kind of virtually going through, whether it be on a cell phone, an iPad, going through the workouts, and then wherever that player is, whether they're maybe some of them are working out together, but obviously at a distance, and they're recording their workouts, and then what's happening is we're sending it back to our guys at NovaCare, and they're putting videos together of these workouts, and it's been a lot of fun to watch them and to see them sort of competing against each other, even though we're not together, and so being able to show them how their teammates and what they're doing, and I think is sort of that motivating factor as we move along this spring to be able to show them, just how hard the team is working.
In the past, you've done that at the NovaCare complex where you have the friendly competitions and a player might win the championship belt and really builds camaraderie. Are you able to do that? And also, you brought in a lot of speakers to address the team during the course of the offseason. Are you able to do that in this virtual world?
We are, and we've already had competition the last couple of weeks, and so we do that. It's something that Ted Rath and Josh Hanks and the whole Keith and Ben and all those guys, as they go throughout the week, they come up with a new drill or some form of new competition for the week, and then I get to announce the winners today from last week, and Ted will shoot me an email on that, and we stay connected. So it's a great way. It's a fun way to I think still have that friendly competition. Even though we're not together at this time.
How has the level of participation been in a voluntary setting?
I really feel the level of participation has been extremely well. One of the things that I've kind of instructed my coaching staff to do is to just shoot me an email, shoot me a text on, because I can't be in every meeting at the same time. So just shoot me an email, a text on how their guys at their position are doing. And we've had a lot of great participation already from everybody, and veteran players and rookie players. So I've been extremely pleased with where the guys are from a team standpoint. My staff has been working extremely hard to continue with the meetings. And the one thing, Dave, I think it's just as we start week 4, you got to continue to find creative ways to keep the guys engaged, because I do feel like after a while, not being together and constantly looking at your phone or an iPad can kind of wear on you a little bit. So my hat's off to the team. My hat's off to my coaches to come up with creative ways to stay connected through this time.
Now, from the X's and O's standpoint, I'm envisioning a position coach, Jeff Stoutland, for example, standing up in his home office with his laptop or the iPad on him, and he's standing up there, he's talking to his guys who are scattered around the country, and then they go to the actual plays and they all are able to watch the same video together and then communicate that way through the course of a classroom session. Am I on the right track with how it all comes together?
You're exactly right, and each coach has sort of been, and this is why we spent so much time before even though we were in this quarantine at home and before the off-season program really began, we spent a lot of time with Pat Nolan and his staff in the video department, our IT department, to really be able to get the computer stuff down. Because listen, we're all, as coaches, we all have different levels of computer skills, and so being able to share your screen with the players, being able to upload and download video from our desktops at the office, and being able to show that to players has been kind of the norm now for us. And the coaches have they've embraced it. They've been able to communicate, with the players this way. And it's been a pretty seamless transition. Other than somebody not having great Wi-Fi or any kind of connectivity where they're at, but being able to share video, and these coaches are doing it, and they're getting creative with it, and that's what's exciting for me to see.
So, Doug, that's all great for the now, and that we don't have the on-field reps in the OTA situation and none of that. But there is going to be a training camp, we all hope, and we all hope it begins in late July. So, with that in mind, how much of your day is spent preparing for a truncated period of time to figure out the 53 best players on this roster?
Yeah, and that's the thing that obviously we don't know at this time, but we're all anticipating and preparing for training camp in mid-July, as you mentioned, and until we can get on the grass with the players and really begin to work with them and put the pads on and really evaluate our team at that point. I mean, you kind of get a sense of their mental capacity now. Obviously, you don't worry so much with the veteran players as much as the younger players, but and that's going to be, I think that's going to be all 32 teams. That's going to be the challenge when we do get to training camp, is how fast can we coach up the new players, the free agents, the guys that we've added to our roster, the rookies, because those are the players that are going to help us, in 2020 and beyond. So, we're looking forward to that day when we can get back together, and that will be the challenge at the end of August to, come up with the best 53 players.
Doug, how do you keep players, or how do you hold them accountable for knowing the X's and O's? How do you keep them accountable for their weight? I mean, are there checkpoints in place where you're kind of constantly testing everybody in those two areas?
Yeah, it is a bit of a challenge because we're not with the players right now to be able to monitor them, be able to the eyeball test. Have somebody in the building where you can just eyeball them and hold them accountable that way. And again, this goes back to trust. This goes back to, we have to trust the players. They have to trust us. We have to check in with our weights. We have to check in with our diet. And this is something that it goes to the Philadelphia Eagles and the organization helping us, and Mr. Lurie helping us to provide anything that our players need, being able to provide that for them. And it could just be, supplements or nutritional items, whatever it is, workout equipment, so that we can tackle this off-season program. But again, everything seems to kind of fall back to that word trust, and through it all, we'll become stronger. We'll become stronger together as we move hopefully towards training camp.
Doug, you've got some new coaches on the offensive staff. A lot of talk out there about how this offense might look different. What kind of input do they have? What kind of tweaks are you making to this Philadelphia Eagles offense?
Yeah, I've been really impressed with the new coaches. Starting with the receivers with Aaron Moorhead. He's a new coach, and he's got a lot of new receivers, a lot of new faces in that room, and he's been doing a great job of getting them coached up in our offense right now, and just having individual meetings, or position meetings with the guys, and basically just teaching them the offense right now. Excuse me. And then Rich Scangarello, who's been a part of the quarterback room. He's also been a part of the receiver room, the running back room right now. So he's kind of spreading himself around just so he can get to know the players and get to know, each coach's coaching style. But he's brought some great ideas, some great suggestions already to our offense. He and Carson have been in communication with a lot of it, and so it's you're going to see, it's not a wholesale change to the naked eye. It probably won't be a lot of big changes from that standpoint, but I think it's how we utilize our players and how we utilize our scheme moving forward that will best suit the Philadelphia Eagles, and to suit the strengths of our players on offense. And obviously we know it starts with our quarterback and Carson Wentz and his strengths and his mobility. And again, some of the things that we saw at the end of the season last year from him, and so we're excited that way. And then just being able to incorporate all of that into our offense. And again, it's about our players and putting them in positions to be successful.
Doug, there are a couple of dozen rookies on this roster who really have no idea what the NFL is all about. So where are they in their very early stages of development?
Well, that's the thing is, until we can really, I think, get them in the building and really understand what they do know, and being able to, and that's the only, I guess, if there is a negative to this is we're missing the grass time, with the players, the phase 2, the phase 3, with the OTAs with these young players. So being able to test them during the week, just getting them to verbalize what they do know, sort of regurgitating the information back to the coach, gives you a really good sense as to where they are mentally right now. And the same way with our veteran players, where they are mentally right now with some of the subtle changes that we're making. So, we got to coach them all the same. And again, we're full steam ahead, pushing ahead right now towards training camp. But as we know, anything can change. So these players have done an outstanding job so far with the information that we've provided them.
Doug, there's also a group of injured players. How do they rehab? What sense do you have of collectively players who are making their recovery and getting ready for the season?
Yeah, I mean that's the one thing that I think we've been fortunate enough, even during this pandemic, and that's something that even though our building is still closed, our we still have an obligation to rehab and heal our guys that are hurt or had surgery. So the rehab process still goes on at NovaCare. It's basically a medical facility for our guys that were hurt, and they're getting the proper treatment. So that's something that we've been very fortunate to have, even though coaches and the rest of the team can't be a part of that, or can't be in the building at this time. Um, we can still use it as a medical facility and still get the proper treatment that they need so that they can be ready for this season.
It's been almost a month since the draft, and you've kind of had a chance to sit back and look at the roster in total. What do you see? What's the perspective like? How do you feel about? We don't know on the field yet, but as you look at all the names and how it might fit together, how do you feel about this roster?
Yeah, right now I would say that probably I feel like all 31 head coaches do. I mean, where there's optimism, there's excitement, obviously with the roster, and when you look at the pieces that we have and the pieces that we added, and you even got to throw in the free agency, guys that the new faces there. I'm really looking forward to when we can get back out on the field, and really looking forward to getting on the grass and watching these guys physically perform on the field. And we do have a lot of young receivers, and how well do they gel with Carson Wentz, and the dialogue and the communication. Listen, we can't forget about Deshaun Jackson coming back, and Alshon Jeffrey is there, and so we've got some veteran guys, and Greg Ward is coming back, and we got some guys that have played with Carson, and so it's exciting to me, to see where we are on paper right now. But again, on paper doesn't win football games. We've got to coach them up. We've got to select the best 53, as we talked about, earlier, and get ready for this season.
Last question about the football team, Doug. You've also got a group of players who are making that jump from year one to year two. We know that there is so much importance in this offseason for those players. How do they make that jump? How do they become better football players when they're not able to get on the field and take those reps?
Yeah, and that's probably the hardest thing, for us as coaches to evaluate is those guys. But for some of those players that you're talking, I think of JJ, Arcega-Whiteside. He played last year. He can go back, and we can rely. He's got film. He's got tape that we can go back and coach him up on. He knows he knows how to play in games. He's done that before. For instance. So some of these guys have taken snaps for us, and we just got to we just got to coach them all the same. And once we get them back into the building and back on the grass, man, it's got to be full steam ahead. And we can't sit around and wait, because there is no waiting. Whenever it is, we only have a few weeks, and we're playing real football games, hopefully. And it's just a matter of these guys being prepared when they do get a chance to come back.
And finally, Doug, take us inside the Petersen household. What have you become an expert in that you were not an expert in before March 13th when the NovaCare complex closed? Have you become a master puzzle maker, or a chef, or a vacuum guy? What are you doing really well at the Petersen household?
It's funny that you bring up the vacuum. I actually purchased a new vacuum. And so I've been a little bit on of a tear as far as vacuuming and keeping the house clean. So obviously that's something that I've been taking up. The other thing too is just some of the things that I don't, not that the chores around the house, like cleaning the dishes, emptying the dishwasher, things like that I don't get a chance to do. I've really I think broadened my horizons on the grill in the backyard, being able to put steak or chicken or pork chops on the grill. I've used my Traeger smoker a little bit more than I normally would. So I think from that standpoint, um, I've gotten a little better in those areas, kind of keeping the house clean and some of my outdoor barbecuing skills.
That said, we all can't wait to get back to the NovaCare complex because the food there is beyond any sort of comparison to anything that we can do at home.
That's exactly right. I miss the NovaCare facility. I miss the food. I miss seeing everybody's face. I mean, that's the thing that's important. I think to remember during this time is the relationships that we build and that's what you miss right now. Being back in the building is just building. You're building for 2020. You're building for this season, and those relationships really begin. The foundation begins in the off season, and I'm just looking forward to the day when we get a chance to all kind of walk back into the building and get this thing going for 2020 again.
Doug Peterson, thank you so much. Continued good luck with the virtual Eagles offseason program, and we'll see you back at NovaCare hopefully sometime soon.
Thank you, Dave. Thanks for having me today.